Hello, guys and girls. Is I, Aaron Halo 18 here today, and I'm going to make a YouTube video called The DC Cinematic Universe. Discussion episode 7, I believe. And the article I'll be reading for this video for today is called How Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Maps Out DC's movie universe. We'll meet Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg. But what about Green Lantern? Anthony Brizkin. 80 people have liked this on Facebook. 0 tweets. People on Google Plus. 4 have liked it and pinned it. And Tumblr, nobody has liked on Tumblr. And the first picture they show is Batman and Superman face to face in rain at night, I believe. And Batman's in the iron suit. This is the part where Superman is pushing Batman back and stuff. It was posted on March 3rd, 2016, 4:08 p.m. EST. Step aside, boys. Wonder Woman is the only other member of the future Justice League with a major role, and for most of the movie, we see her as alter ego Diana Prince, a glamorous covert agent working only for herself, who runs afoul of Bruce Wayne as they engage in rival missions to steal some of Luthor's most disconcerting secrets. She's not like a Bond girl, more like James Bond himself. And they show related articles of cover pictures. The first one is this week's cover behind the brawl of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. And then there's that new clip with new Batman v Superman clip outsmarting the Man of Steel, which I really watched. That was a pretty cool video. I've seen all of the trailers for the Batman v Superman. So I'm excited about this movie. Actually, I'm gonna have a movie party April 3rd it's a Sunday, I think. And it'll probably be a 4 o'clock show or something of that nature. And I'll continue to read now. The hardest piece, and probably the most rewarding, was Wonder Woman. Snyder says, "You have to establish her, but don't give it away. Don't cash it all in. She's enough in the movie where you definitely feel her presence. And she makes a huge impact on the film. But there are giant mysteries still surrounding her at the end of the movie. Wonder Woman's role also marks not just the expansion of the DC movie universe, but a recognition that the audience for these movies is growing, too. It can't just be a boys' club anymore. I can't get over the fact that she's going to be 75 years old, and this is the first time she's gracing the silver screen," says Deborah Snyder, who's also producing the Wonder Woman standalone film. I think all these things, truth and love and wanting peace and all the things that she represents, is something that we all look up to and would want. In order for women to believe that they can't do this, they have to set it, they have to see it. And the next link on the slide is Batman v Superman will be a rated R and extended cut. On the DVD release of the special release of this movie is going to be rated R, I guess. My dad doesn't believe that, but it is. On not the theater though. In the movie theaters, it'll be PG-13, but on DVD it'll be rated R. And they show a picture of one of the scenes from the movie Wonder Woman in that party scene in the movie. I guess it's at Bruce Wayne's house or something. So, I don't know. Showing new pictures of this movie, I guess. And below the picture says, image credit, Clay, Enos. As the mother of a little girl, Godot says she's especially proud to bring Wonder Woman to life. Most of the movies, the men are in charge. The men are the most powerful ones. You've had Superman and Batman, and everyone but Wonder Woman was never there. Says the actress whose daughter is 4. That's probably too young to see the film now, but someday. I'm so happy when she grows up, she's going to see a female figure she can be inspired by, Godot says. When she finally wields a sword in her golden lasso later in the film, Wonder Woman shows she not only deals out punishment, she can take it, even after lying low for many decades. Maybe it's an accidental metaphor. Now that she's finally being pulled off the shelf and put on screen. Johns points to her climatic battle with Doomsday, a Kryptonian Frankenstein monster created by Luthor from the remains of Michael Shannon's General Zod, as one of his favorite character moments. I love her in the movie. I love when she's hit by Doomsday and she turns around and smiles like she hasn't been in a fight like this in a long, long time. He says she missed it. Batman's future backstory. Fans should prepare to encounter the other Justice Leaguers only in cameos, as certain characters discover evidence of fellow metahumans who could either become powerful allies or maybe foes. Batman isn't sure. His default setting is to perceive everyone stronger than him as an enemy. Snyder and co-writer Chris Terrio, who won an Oscar for Argo, cleverly Jiu-Jitsu, a common complaint about Man of Steel to explain why Batman hates Superman so much. He blames him for the death and the destruction the hero unleashed on Metropolis in his battle with General Zod. The idea that there are more that's hopeful and also terrifying to him. says Affleck, because then they could make humans even more powerless, or they could serve on our side. This is a Batman who has been at it for nearly 2 decades, and he's both tired and a little hopeless. The trailer features a Robin uniform covered with Joker graffiti, which implies the Boy Wonder has been killed. Sorry about that. Has been killed in a previous story. He's starting to wonder if he ever really saved anyone, or just made things worse. He's projecting his own sense of failure, his own sense of disillusionment, his own cynicism onto Superman, Affleck says. But the Robin suit is another example of groundwork that BVS is laying for other movies. We'll be exploring that, says Johns, who has consulted on the full slate. No one says specifically the name of which Robin that is. I show the picture of the Robin suit in the Batcave, I guess. And it says, "The joke's on you, Batman." There was something like that. It's by the same guy, Clay Enos. This is from Entertainment Weekly, EW.com. That suggests we may see a standalone Batman movie where Affleck doesn't have all that gray in his temples, but that movie is still in the talking phase. It's in development, and right now I'm really focused on finishing Live by Night, says Affleck. An adaptation of the thriller My Novel by Gone Baby Gone, author Dennis Lehane. And that's where my focus is. And I tend to be the one movie at a time guy. So when I'm finished with this movie, I'll then focus on my next movie and figure out what that will be. For now, Affleck is definitely signed on for Justice League, and when asked if we can count on his Batman turning up in this summer's Suicide Squad, he just laughs. I've seen stuff from Suicide Squad, and I can tell you that that movie really works. That movie is really cool and fun and awesome. Should we keep our eyes peeled for the Caped Crusader? Affleck pauses. You should keep your eyes peeled for sure, he says. Distorted reality. While trying to establish this new multi-hero reality, Batman v Superman also wraps it a little to foreshadow some of the threats and potential saviors who could appear further down the line. Snyder says there's a kind of a Christmas Carol aspect to these visions. Maybe they're true glimpses of the future, or maybe they're warnings. The film is laced with dream sequences for both Batman and Superman. that hint at dangers to come, including the possible appearance of DC's galactic ultra-villain Darkseid. The Flash, played by Miller, appears in one such nightmare of Bruce Wayne's delivering a cryptic message to the Dark Knight. Sorry I haven't done these cinematic universe videos for a while, guys and girls. I'm enjoying this article. It's a pretty long article. It's 3 pages long, I believe. And I'm going to read it to you guys and girls. I hope you enjoy it. And don't mind the noises in the background. My mom and dad are doing some plumbing work. There are people here repairing the drywall and stuff in the house. It might be a little loud here, but I'll try my best and read it off to you. I hope you can hear and understand what I'm saying in this video. Enjoy it, and I'll be reading it off to you. Now, I will continue. Appears in one such nightmare of Bruce Wayne's delivering a cryptic message to the Dark Knight. Fans will have to debate whether it was really a dream, or maybe the kinetic hero breaking through time-space to deliver a warning. Snyder calls this a giant Easter egg that he hopes will spawn plenty of online theories. We had such a straightforward narrative. On one hand, I wanted this other layer of the movie to be complicated and bizarre, he says. That brings us to a figure who looms largest over all of this, one who's never had to share his time on screen with so many powerful rivals. Superman may be the strongest of all, but following on the story set forth in Man of Steel, this series of DC movies is trying to reveal the flaws that go far beyond kryptonite. This Superman is still a newbie, still trying to figure out what to do with his strengths. Still trying to avoid making mistakes. His weakness is that he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He doesn't want to scare anyone. And in that, you can take advantage of him, Cavill says. This is someone who is a complete amateur, and he's facing up against someone who is very well versed in the arts of war. One thing's for sure, Superman won't feel so alone anymore. But the Man of Steel may want to plan ahead more the next time he has to fight the Dark Knight. If there's a next time. This story has been corrected. Originally, it said Affleck had seen Suicide Squad, but after a closer listen to the audio, he says he's only seen parts of it. To continue reading more on Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, pick up the new Entertainment Weekly or buy the Batman and Superman covers here. And subscribe now for more exclusive interviews, the photos, and only in EW. For more DC movie news, follow President sound off in the comments about which films you'd like to see even further beyond Warner Brothers' announced plans. I went back to page 1. Who wins in a fight, Batman or Superman? That's the ultimate question for DC Comics fans. It's not who's stronger. That's easy, Superman, and it's not who's faster. Superman takes that one too. The Man of Steel can also fly, blast heat rays from his eyes, see through walls. It has bulletproof skin. You name it, and Superman beat best Batman in almost every capacity. He's even nicer. But those things aren't the question. It's who wins in a fight, and this is where the mortal man in a big black bat suit, it evens the score. Because Batman thinks ahead. Batman isn't necessarily smarter than Superman. The other part of this article I read was part 3. I went back to part 1 to read the rest of them. I'm going to read the rest of them. And here it goes. Batman isn't necessarily smarter than Superman. He's just more cunning, more manipulative. He doesn't simply throw down and rely on his might. Batman shifts the odds in his favor by waiting, studying. He lays groundwork, he anticipates, he devises a plan, then he fights. You don't need X-ray vision to see the same Dark Knight style strategizing throughout Batman v Superman, not just on screen as Ben Affleck's Caped Crusader and Henry Cavill's Son of Krypton go mano a mano in a clash orchestrated by Jesse Eisenberg's Machiavellian Lex Luthor, but in the behind-the-scenes maneuvering as well. Warner Brothers and DC Comics have crafted the March 25 movie as the foundation for a larger, interconnected cinematic universe. It's not just one $250 million superhero, $250 million, $250 million superhero epic. It's also the set up for 10 other DC movies. And if all goes according to plan, many more after that. Some are already finished or in the works. Director David Ayer's Suicide Squad, a bad guys go good adventure with Will Smith as Deadshot, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and Jared Leto as the Joker. Comes out August 5th. Wonder Woman's first standalone live-action film in her 75-year history is currently shooting with Gal Gadot. And yes, comic books have been around for 75 years. That's why Wonder Woman is 75 years old. That's kind of cool, I guess. Is currently shooting with Gal Gadot as the Amazonian warrior princess, and Justice League Part 1, which unites all of DC's top heroes, begins filming April 11. That means the box office stakes for Batman v Superman are cosmic. If it doesn't keep this world safe, it'll be the apocalypse. No pressure. Zack Snyder, who also directed the BVS predecessor, 2013's Man of Steel, has a bizarre attitude about it all. He appears to be having, like, fun. The 300 and Watchmen director is a key figure in this forthcoming slate of DC movies, referred to by many on the team as the Snyderverse. The ones he isn't directing, he's producing, along with his wife and production partner, Deborah Snyder. It's the family business that just days after putting the finishing touches on BVS, he's about to board a London-bound plane to prep Justice League. Still, the lean, tattooed 50-year-old filmmaker seems as buoyant as a birthday boy who has just ripped open a box full of his favorite action figures, and still has lots more to unwrap. I just have a gallery link right here saying inside the superhero grudge match in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. The director becomes animated as he reacts their big knockdown drag out battle. Superman doesn't have to be as much of a chess player as Batman. Says Snyder, Superman has might on his side, but before the fists start flying, we see an armored Batman placing various traps in an abandoned stockyard, then walking along and driving a kryptonite spear into the ground. He paces it off. Snyder says then, when he throws Superman, the spear is right there. So you're like, wait a minute. Did he plan every bit? You know every move. Knowing every move was also Snyder's job, as he plotted the 5 years worth of DC movies that would expand from BVS. I pitched it to the studio like, listen, where am I? Head back. I'm there for. The idea is that Batman exists within the universe of Superman. And I go, guys, here's the headline. Not just that Batman exists. Guess what? Wonder Woman, the whole group, Snyder says. The Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, he says the studio's reaction was about time. And they show a picture of Batman, the Batman v Superman scene from a Hollywood studio picture showing Ben Affleck in his Batman suit and Henry Cavill in his Superman suit. And these pictures on Entertainment Weekly on these articles are by Clay Enos. And the picture also shows Snyder in it as well, with glasses. One reason the interlocked universe hasn't happened already is it's hard as hell to pull off. Once you know that what the next movie's going to be, then it becomes about, okay, where are we going to go from there? Says Greg Silverman, the president of the creative development and worldwide production at Warner Brothers. What do moviegoers really want to see Wonder Woman and Superman talking about in movie 4? And how do we get there? As one of the chief architects of the DC film universe, he said they started by building little pieces in Man of Steel. For instances, in the climax of that movie, there are pieces of a downed Wayne Enterprises satellite that crashes down on Metropolis over a skyscraper with the LexCorp logo. As the movie slate moves forward, the audience has to be nudged along too. Now that Batman and Superman are meeting face to face, it's no longer about teases and allusions. You now have a world in which Metropolis and Gotham are geographically close by, and all these little details start becoming real. Superman says there's a satellite falling from the sky in Man of Steel, and you realize that each of these movies is going to be a huge part of the movie that follows. Related details of the Rated R Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. There's also a link there. And I'll probably put a link of this article as well. It's a 3-page article. And I'll probably leave a link to it on my channel. Down in the comments, in the description. Down below. Inside the multiverse, DC exists in what is called the multiverse. Its hit TV shows such as Supergirl, Gotham, Arrow, and The Flash are entirely separate from the movies, though some allow for a crossover with one another until now. DC's movies have never shared a single cinematic universe, like the one that longtime rival Marvel launched with 2008's Iron Man, but there have been previous efforts to bring together certain characters on the big screen. A Justice League movie starring Armie Hammer as Batman, Megan Gale as Wonder Woman, and DJ Cortona as Superman. Got as far as the casting stage with Mad Max Fury Road filmmaker George Miller, before falling apart amid the 2007 through 2008 Writers Guild strike. Even further back in the line of fire, filmmaker Wolfgang Peterson was set to direct a Batman/Superman movie in 2003, but studio excesses at the time decided it was safer to not mingle their heroes. Meanwhile, the most successful recent DC movies, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, are considered sacrosanct, separate narrative dimensions that other superheroes and storylines that can't cross into. Now the conventional wisdom flows the opposite direction. Everything from Star Wars to Ghostbusters is establishing a universe of spin-offs and standalones. The DC movie Brain Trust says they still had to be careful. They had to wait. They had to plan. They had to do some Batman-level strategizing. You have to get each individual movie right, and that's been our focus. We pushed the release date of Batman v Superman to March. It was supposed to be out last year. Says Silverman. The gift of time that we gave it allowed it to live up to its full potential. And for anybody else thinking of doing it, that's the thing to do. Every movie has to be treated as if it's the only movie, while you're falling in love with how they're all going to connect. How did BVS make use of that extra year? If they were going to introduce other metahumans for the future Justice League film coming out next year. They need to cast them. I said the next year, part. They need to cast them. Godot as Wonder Woman. Ray Fisher as Cyborg. Ezra Miller as the Flash. Jason Momoa as Aquaman. But to cast these roles, they also wanted input from the directors of those individual spin-offs. Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman. Seth Grahame Smith for Flash. James Wan for Aquaman. Which meant they need stories to recruit those filmmakers. Even Affleck is considering co-writing and directing a future standalone Batman film. Not every piece had to be in position to start. They had to begin setting up those other movies to make sure BVS could properly introduce as many of new characters from the DC universe as it could, while still telling a story that stood on its own. I've had a lot of films, but I've never had to be part of trying to craft together where this many films are related. Says producer Charles Roven, who also produced Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and is part of the brain trust overseeing the DC slate. Filmmakers have to decide as part of their decision to join the team. Are they happy with what's come before from the time they join? They're involved in any major decisions. That's how one movie quickly becomes like making 10 others. Right now, here's the list. Dates and concepts get more fungible the further off we get. Suicide Squad, August 5th, 2016. Wonder Woman, June 23rd, 2017. Justice League Part 1, November 17th, 2017. The Flash, March 16, 2018. Aquaman, July 27, 2018. Shazam, April 5th, 2019. Justice League Part 2, June 14, 2019. Cyborg, April 3rd, 2020. Green Lantern Corps, June 19, 2020. Ben Affleck directed Batman. Undated. But one major character is still stuck behind a red light. And the next page is how and when Green Lantern will fit in. In brightest day and blackest night. Snyder's office of the Warner Brothers lot looks like the lair of a super thief who specializes in stealing treasures from all the other heroes and villains. He has armor, weapons, tools, and costumes on display. A giant painting of Bruce Wayne's father leans against one wall in one warehouse-sized room. He has a gym full of weight machines, and this is where the brain trust meets to break story. The room used to be the place where large backdrops were hand-painted for movie sets, but that kind of work is mainly done digitally now. The remnants of that bygone technique remained. There's a giant retractable board that can rise out of the floor. Once it was for hanging billboard-sized canvases. Now it's the outline for the DC universe. Its ability to sink into the floor was so painters working on the top didn't have to stand on ladders, but now it's just a cool security feature. EW didn't see the timeline. Their paraphrase, Dr. Strangelove, outsiders aren't allowed to see the big board. But we discover some of the things that are on it and what's not on it. For instance, it's not an accident that Warner Brothers hasn't said much about Green Lantern, besides the fact that they're planning a 2020 reboot. The character is not referenced in BVS, and Superman acknowledges he may not turn up on screen for a while. Green Lantern is an incredible character. He's actually multiple incredible characters. Superman says there's really real opportunity there. We didn't do a great job of that first Green Lantern movie. This is a character who deserves to be treated in the same way that Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman are being treated now. Which is with great reference. I guess I can say to the Green Lantern fans, if they can be patient with us, I think they'll be really happy. But how patient? Robin says we may not see Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, or incarnation of Green Lantern until Justice League Part 2. Maybe every beat of the movie is not yet worked out. So there's a possibility that he may or may not be in Justice League 2. The producer says, for now, we felt that we were introducing enough characters that the best possible place we could put Green Lantern is some introduction in Justice League 2. Or barring that, a movie after. And they show a picture of the Suicide Squad movie team down below. It's a image credited by Clay Enos. Another trick of assembling these films is to make sure casual moviegoers are kept oriented about the timeline. So on that secret board in Snyder's office, it is clear Suicide Squad takes place after the events in BVS in the Wonder Woman movie, while largely set in 1918 during World War I, will be framed by present-day bookends that also take place after BVS. Meanwhile, BVS includes teases about what that upcoming movie will reveal about Wonder Woman's past. Keep it away. Hi. The timeline on that board goes backward and forward. More. 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 Left right back. There's more. Left right back. Sorry about that, guys and girls. I'm going to read the next part. World building, world destroying. If BVS sounds crowded, it actually got smaller as time went on. The PG-13 movie's 2 hour and 31 minute runtime will expand further with an rated R Ultimate Edition on home video featuring even more brutal fight scenes, as well as additional hints at future films. There will also be some new characters, including a secret one played by Jenna Malone. It was cut from the theatrical release. More on the extended cut of BVS tomorrow at EW.com. The shared universe took so long to coordinate, not just because of business recommendations, but because the DC movie brain trust had to make sure that each character felt distinct and strong. Nobody wants their favorite comic book hero to become somebody else's sidekick. And Warner Brothers executives learned from 2011's Green Lantern that getting it wrong can set their movie plans back for many years. Jeff Johns, Chief Creative Officer at DC Entertainment and an executive producer of BVS, says the challenge is not just making the heroes fit together, but ensuring that they stand alone. They stand apart. And then they show a picture of Superman in a courtroom, talking in front of a judge or something, with a microphone in front of him. It's also and the image is by Warner Brothers, actually. And there's more writing below the picture as well. It's all world building as much as it is character building. He says Batman isn't just a character. He's a character within Gotham City. With all the iconograph behind him and the emotional underpinning of Bruce Wayne in the fight for justice is a pretty dark fight when it comes to Batman. And then you have Superman on the other hand, who has a very different world he lives in a very different way he operates, and in a very different methodology to how he protects people and why he does it. He doesn't wear a mask. He really wants to be accepted, because, quite honestly, I think as a kid, he never felt accepted. He never felt like he was one of us. With that contrasting psychological dynamic, now try adding four more heroes to the mix. It's not possible, not all at once. Not if you want the characters to have any depth. That's why the theatrical release focuses squarely on the two title heroes. The secondary motive to leave fans wanting more of the newcomers. And And that's it for that article. I guess, guys and girls. That was a pretty long article. I'm really excited about this movie. I hope the cameo appearance with Flash will be good. And Aquaman and Cyborg. But I don't think Shazam will be featured in this movie as a cameo or anything. And mostly Aquaman. Aquaman is played by Jason Momoa, like they said in the article, and of course the Flash is played by Ezra Miller as well. And Cyborg is played by Ray Fisher. Those are the characters that will show in this movie. And of course Wonder Woman's in the movie as well. But she's not a cameo appearance. She's actually part of the story. I guess the actor who plays Wonder Woman has a 4-year-old daughter. I guess she has a husband too. And even though she's attractive, she's a mother. And it's kind of cool to see a female character in a superhero movie. Not just the male roles all the time. I'm glad that they're doing... Well, Marvel's going to do it too. They're going to have a Captain Marvel female superhero. I guess it's Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel. But they're calling Miss Marvel's name is Captain Marvel. And this new upcoming Marvel film with her. There's a lot of cool Marvel movies going out too. But this is for this article is only about DC Cinematic Universe though. It's cool how DC started to have their own cinematic universe, just like Marvel does. It's pretty cool. And this new Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice movie looks really good. And I can't wait for all these movies. It's about time they're doing DC movies. And I haven't done this cinematic thing. They've never done this before. It's their first time for them, and I just hope it'll be a good movie. It comes out March 25th, and I wish I was invited to that premiere thing a week before the movie. I want to go see the special premiere the week before the movie. And if anybody out there could help me out with that, please help me out with that. Make that possible for me to do that. And please continue to put me on Reddit so that I can continue getting more views, I guess. And I just love the article. The article was pretty cool. I love how they talked about Wonder Woman's character and hints at a Green Lantern movies and stuff. And pretty cool, huh? And then the Flash will have his cameo appearance of a big Easter egg in the movie, like warning Batman of his future or something like that, which I thought was pretty cool. And I really did enjoy the article, and I hope that I'm sorry I haven't done the DC Cinematic Universe discussion episodes for a while now. I'm sorry about that. I'll continue to do it. I know that 322 people watched episode 6 of this little discussion series. I just wanted to read those 3 pages of this one article for today. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say and what I had to read in this article. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm still looking forward to the Marvel movies as well. I will always be a Marvel and DC fan. I love superheroes; they're pretty cool. And I also still love video games as well, and other things. I'm still a Christian as well. And my next video next time will probably be the Last of Us Remastered review. that one that I played with my best friend Zach Gray. And I gotta go here now. I've been doing this for almost an hour, so I just wanted to read these articles and talk a little bit. And please, please rate, comment, like, favorite, subscribe, views, thoughts, and opinions. And I hope you liked it and enjoyed it for your viewing pleasure, guys and girls. And like Ghost Robo says, please drink some hot chocolate. And I'll see you all later. And this is Aaron Halo 18. Sorry I didn't introduce myself in the beginning of the video. But this is Aaron Halo 18. And I am signing off. And have a nice day. And goodbye.